Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. It is me, Ms.D, also known as Bianca. If you are new here, hello, I am a recent teacher grad and I make tons of teacher content videos as well as do a whole bunch of fun vlogs and lifestyle vlogs just to get to know a little bit more about me. If you are new here, we are almost at 200 subscribers. It would mean so much to me if you could hit the subscribe button down below and maybe give this video a thumbs up. I have so much to say, so let's just get right into it. Cue the intro. Alright everyone, today's video is going to be part 2 to my teacher university experience. This video is going to be all about some summer prep that maybe you can be doing or some tips and advice that you can be doing over the summer before you head into your education program. I had filmed a part 1 to this video, and if you haven't watched that already, I'll link it up here on the iCard and you can go and watch that before or after this one. Totally up to you. I recently had somebody DM me about any advice or tips that I have or ways to prepare before entering the education program, and I thought that was a really great question, and I thought that I'd actually make a video all about it. I have a couple of things that I would like to share with you, and I thought that it really helped me as I was preparing to go into the education program 2 years ago now. I thought I would share those tips with you. I am not an expert, but I just thought that these things had worked for me and I think would be very helpful for anybody who is going into an education program. My first prep tip for you teacher-to-be's is to set yourself up for success. And this could look like a whole bunch of things depending on who you are as a person. I am a very organized person. I love planners, I love lists, I love making sure that I know what I'm doing at all parts of the day. So that's when this baby comes in handy. This is my teacher planner for the year 2020-2021. And I thought that before anything and before I even entered the program, I needed to have a planner. I always use a planner because it just helps me stay organized and on top of things. And as a teacher, lots of things can happen. So I think it was going to be a really good idea if you get yourself a teacher planner. And my friends, this is not just any kind of teacher planner. It's a specific kind of teacher planner. This teacher planner has basically, it has a line for the subjects. So it has 7 boxes for 7 subjects, and then it has the days of the week as well as the weekends. Then it has some goals that you can write down as well as any notes that you have. I like to use this even if I'm not on my practicum. So I would say set yourself up for success by getting into the routine of planning and making sure you're staying organized. I like to use this in all kinds of my education program classes. I would just pop in what kind of classes I have over here on the subject line. So let's say I have teaching language arts for elementary students. I would pop that in the subject, and then I would write down all of my homework or what I need to do for the rest of the week in that certain subject. And obviously this comes in handy when you are in your practicum because you can actually write subject specific, so like math and science and whatever subjects you're teaching, and then you can write like teaching this kind of lesson for this subject. Another kind of way that you can set yourself up for success is by making an exam list or assignment list. And I don't have it with me right now, but I'll insert a picture just right over here. And in this subject list, what it does is basically at the beginning of the year, once I know all my classes, I take a look at all of my syllabuses, and then I look at all the assignments and all the exams that I have for that specific class or all my classes. And then I write down all the assignments and their due dates. I like to separate this by month, and then in January I have all of my assignments that are due in January, the date it's due, and then what kind of class and what kind of assignment is due. I have a separate list also for exams, so whenever my tests are or exams are, I also write that down. And my favorite part about to-do lists or just lists like these is I love getting to cross them out when I'm all finished with that exam or that assignment. And it also just makes you feel good because you're like, oh, it's almost the end of January and into a new month. So I thought that would be really helpful for setting yourself up for success. Another prep tip of mine is for both elementary and for secondary. For elementary, I would say start to peruse some children's books because sometimes you may use them for an assignment or for your classes, and you can never go wrong because once you start buying books, you can always use them in your classroom. Even though it's a little bit tricky because you might not know obviously what grade you're going to be teaching, but try and find books that can go for all age ranges, or you could start off with like Division 1, so like K to 3, and then you can find books for like 4 to 6. So just start perusing some books. I personally loved perusing in thrift stores because you get a really great deal. I love Goodwill because they always have stacks and stacks of books for really cheap. But yeah, I recommend going to thrift stores and finding a bunch of books, but don't go overboard because sometimes you might have too much and you might need to give away by the time you get a classroom. And if you are a secondary teacher, so if you teach more of the junior high school ages, you could still peruse some books because read alouds are still so important to do that in junior high and high school, but also look for books that have subject-specific activities in them. So if you find a science book that has a whole bunch of science experiments or some fun hands-on learning activities, use that to help yourself in your practicum because I think that would be super fun. So start perusing some teacher materials basically because that would be very helpful for your classes and just throughout your practicum. So my other prep tip slash things that you can do and start to get ready for in the summer is to grab some specific supplies because throughout your education program or your education career, you're going to gather a lot of resources either from your professors or your mentor teachers or throughout your practicum. So start thinking of ways to organize that throughout your education degree. So here are some examples of mine. I did not find the prettiest binder, but I thought of grabbing I don't even know, like a 3-inch ring binder, like just like the biggest binder you can get. My classroom is going to be like a watercolor rainbow themed classroom, so I made these watercolor labels. I don't know if you can see that right over here. I made these watercolor labels that say a subject specific thing that I learned in my program. So we had a science module, so of course we had lots and lots of resources that would help us in elementary science. So in here I just put all of the resources that I got during this class into this binder so that when I need to teach science or if I would like to find a specific activity, then I could just go into this science binder and then I have a whole bunch of resources that I can use for my lesson plans. And it varies. Sometimes you're going to have a lot of resources in the binder, sometimes you're not going to, but I always find that it's really important to store some stuff for subject specific things so you kind of have resources in your back pocket. So for ELA, I have like all the notes that I've taken in all of my classes. I also labeled them as well. So I have things like for guided reading if I ever need some notes about what guided reading is. I also have some games and activities that I can do in my lesson plans. I also have this literacy luggage that we learned about and like things for assessments for ELA. I have one for each subject, but I also have one that says general activities because those general activities are just kind of like things that I can just do in the classroom, things I can do at the beginning of the year, at the end of the year. So I just like to sort all of my resources out so that I can quickly grab it whenever I need to. A good way to prep for the education program this summer is to grab some binders, make some really cute labels or just label them yourself and start putting in some tabs and just plop things in here as you get your resources. Another thing that you can do for the summer to prep before education is to read some books. Now, I love summer because it's just a nice way to chill outside in your backyard or the patio and get to read some amazing books. Some of the books I recommend are right here. So the first one, I don't actually have it with me because it's in the deep depths of my teacher resources. But this book right here, the flexible seating book, is amazing. I really love it because it just talks about flexible seating. And if you don't know what flexible seating is, it's basically providing your students with different kinds of seats that they can try out that will help them be more comfortable and ready to learn. So you know those regular chairs in the classroom? Sometimes those are super uncomfortable. You can provide them with a different seat, so such as wobble chairs or stools or just any kind of other chair that they get to choose and have the option of trying out in order for them to be successful with their learning. So I recommend reading this book over the summer. It is amazing and gives you so much tips and advice for flexible seating. Another book I really recommend reading for this summer is I Wish My Teacher Knew. And I'm not gonna spoil it and tell you what it's about, but let me just tell you, I think every teacher or teacher-to-be, no matter what grade you are going to teach or interested in, should read this book. It is by Kyle Schwartz, and she has an Instagram and everything, so I highly recommend this. It is an invaluable K-12 guide for teachers, parents, and communities based on the worldwide viral phenomenon. And this is an amazing book, and it has so many strategies and helpful things for first-year teachers. So I highly recommend this book. I think the last little bit of prep tip or advice I could give you is to find a workspace that works for you. I know throughout this entire experience with COVID that we have to do some online learning. And I know during my last year, I was doing a lot of online learning, and sometimes you may not even know that during your practicum, you may have to go online at some point. So I think finding or setting up a workspace for yourself is a really good idea. And I think my advice is to do it in the summer because you can kind of feel out what spaces work for you and what spaces don't work for you. And you can kind of decorate your little space. And I'll insert kind of like a photo or a video or whatever I have of my workspace that I had set up last first day of my last year in education. I actually used this space right over here to kind of set up my workspace, and it was really nice and calming, and it just really motivated me to have a space that I can go to for online learning or just even for studying. And you can put in some stuff that you think would help you, like your new assignment and exam list or your teacher planner or whatever it is that helps you get through the school year. All right, my friends, that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you got some tips and advice, and I hope that motivates you and starts getting you thinking about all the things that you kind of should get ready for, or maybe this video sparks up some more interesting things that you think could help you throughout the summer. And if you do have any ideas that have sparked your interest, you can leave them in the comment box below to help other teacher-to-be's out, and maybe even myself as I start my teaching journey. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. We are almost at 200 subscribers. That may not be a lot to some other people, but to me it means the world. So if you aren't subscribed, please do so. It would mean so much to me. Thanks so much for being here, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye! Another book I highly recommend and am in the middle of reading is called I Wish My Teacher Knew. What? Hello?
Where are you?
Are you outside? I'm filming! Oh my gosh. Brief intermission. My boy got me a Coco's drink.